So I got my cuppa, and it's quite a damp, cold morning down here this morning. I spent loads and loads of time over the last couple of weeks just doing stuff around the plot, making stuff, fixing stuff, and it's a long time since we've had a wander around and just assessed how the plants are doing and what we've got growing. So this morning it's time to sit back, have a cuppa and have a little bit of a plot tour and just see what's been going on and what's been growing and what's not. So while this cools down a little bit, because it's quite hot I think. Lovely, but it's a bit hot. Let's have a quick tour around, have a look what's going on. Okay, so here we are in the fruit cage. Blackberries are all still looking good, they've not lost their leaves yet. Coming down here, blueberries are looking lovely. I mean, look at these are lush colour, aren't they? I love the autumn colours and the reds and stuff like that. They've still got their leaves, and look at that massive cup fungi in there. I'm sure that's a good sign that things are going on. But we've got quite a lot of that, and then I'll show you some of the other fungi we've got growing around. A little bit of weeding needed doing in there. Let's pan around to the bulbs are in there, all fine. These are the honeyberries, and they've all, this one's still got a few yellow leaves. This one's completely lost its leaves now. And these are the elephant garlic. 1, 2, 3, 4. They seem to be doing all right. These are some spare beetroot that we just chucked in there, and more cup fungi. And there's more over there as well. So we've got loads and loads of that growing. It's over here to the grapevines, and that's all now. Grapevines now all died back, and they're still looking quite good. So hopefully that'll spring back in the spring. These beans now, they've about had it, so we'll put that on the list of jobs to do, is to take all those out, weed all this bed and get those strawberries in there. Carrots are still looking mighty fine. Let's pull one of these out and see what it's like. Let's find out one here. Let's try this one. Whoa, look at that. Fork City. But that was not bad really. We put these carrots in here just to really test the soil on the bed. I'll come back and get that in a minute. But they've done really well in there. Panning around, we've now got our autumn, our summer fruiting raspberries in. We've got 2 lines of autumns, and if you want to see, we've left the second set of autumns still with a single cane, and I'll explain that in a previous video as to why we were doing that. And then down to the bottom of the plot down here, we've got a couple of loganberries down here, and in amongst all the space we've put some crocus in there as well, just to fill the gap. So that's the fruit cage. Let's have a look in this bed here. So in this bed here, let's take the clips off and have a look inside. Here we've got some turnips growing. I don't know how much they're growing yet. Let's have a look. Oh, look at that. That's starting to grow on. That's not looking too bad. This side was getting absolutely decimated with caterpillars. Despite having this mesh on, they got in somehow, or they were in there before we put the mesh on. I'll put a photo up of the ones I hooked out about 6 juicy caterpillars last night when I came down to put some kitchen waste in the composter. This is our spinach that's all growing well. We've got some onions down the end there, and then we still got our monster radish, which have probably all gone past their best, so they need coming out, but these were multi-sown, so we'll get some of those out later. This bed here is so I'll take the clips off. This bed here I haven't really looked at since we sort of planted that really. So let's have a look at that. Some of this pak choi's been nibbled away in here, so I have to Might have to come in here later on and dig out any stuff. They've got some mustards and some salads in there, so I have to harvest some of those and take some of those home for lunch. Round here, we have our coal frame, which again had all the spare rocket and salad leaves in it. We're really impressed with how well that's done in that coal frame. We haven't really done anything with it, we just shut it up and let it go. We'll leave it open for now to give it a bit of air. Over here we have our garlic bed. That's garlic down that end, and then our onions down on this end, and they're looking quite good. All needs a little bit of a weeding, put that on the list of jobs. The asparagus is still not going off yellow yet. It's starting to turn, and the comfrey I can see is coming back. And then over there we have the rhubarb, which is all died off and needs a good tidy up. Although this one here seems to think that it was worth sprouting again, so it's got a bit damaged now, but as I say it put on some new shoots after all the others have died off. Under this cloth here we've got some multi-sown beetroot, and I haven't actually looked at these since we put them in. I just put them in, put a cloth over them to stop the birds getting them out. So let's have a look, see how they're doing. A little bit of damage on them, but they're looking all right. So we'll so let's see if there's much of a bulb growing on there yet. Can't really feel much in there, but hopefully they'll carry on growing over the winter. Let's go down round to the trial beds. So this is our shop walk compost one, and the spring onions are in there. No sign of just a little bit of a sign of some of the onions coming through. Garlic is coming through. I'm going to give each one of these a squeeze test because it's been really rainy, so I'm interested to see if you grab a handful of soil. Yeah, that's quite wet, but it still hangs together. This is the other one. Again, that's not too bad. Garlic's come up, still waiting for some of the spring onions to come up. This is our soil mix. That's again, it's still quite crumbly. And this is our coir, which again is squeezes. There's no water falling out of it. It's all quite damp, so they're all doing quite well. So that's good news. They're all looking good, and we shall track the progress on those. Then into the polytunnel. So since we've been in this polytunnel, we've cleared out all this side and put another bed in. And what we've done is we had a staging rack, 3 staging rack, and what we've done is I've put in some extra bars here across the polytunnel and set that up as with the mesh staging on there. So that's where all the plants are going to be going. That means we can free up the space on the floor. So these are some late broad beans. They're just, by the looks of it, a few little ones just coming through. We'll see how they do now the weather's dropped off. There's some radish that are just growing there that they're going to be just going into the test beds just to see how they do. Some lettuce here that desperately need pricking out and putting into a tray. And down here are the sweet peas that we put in the other day. And these covers can probably come off for now. Let's get these covers off. So these are all looking mighty fine, and let's have a look at the roots on them. Still they're okay, so we'll wait until they fill out their roots and then we'll pot those onto something else. So, and there's still the spare asparagus plants which we need to do something with or give them away or something like that. Look at the temperature, it's been in here, it's been up to 20 degrees, it's down to 2.2, it was down to about 1.5 the other day. It's currently 8 degrees, a nippy 8 degrees. And this is the other bed that we've got in the polytunnel, and this is done absolutely brilliantly. We've got two different types of pak choy down here, and we've got mazuma and some other mustards and some rocket and some more salads and a few more bits and pieces there. The peas that got decimated by the mice, a few of those are still starting to come back up, so that's all right, so we keep taking those off. So there's plenty of salad stuff to be harvesting today, so we shall harvest some of that later on. But that bed is looking brilliant, so hopefully that bed will do as well. And down the end there is just a pot of the winter potatoes that we had. So that's how the polytunnel is looking at the moment. And let's have a look around the plot as a whole. So it's quite a small plot, it's only a half plot, so we have to try and maximize space by density planting and also succession planting in here. So this was all raised beds to start with, and we've replaced it with these, basically these, which are about foot high raised beds, just using scaffolding planks cut down to length and then strapped together. And we're putting another 3 of those up the top there, and then like a feature thing in the middle, which we'll look at later. When we come to do that, we'll do a video on that. What else has changed on the plot? We have reskinned the shed. We've leveled and reskinned the shed. So all we did was actually get the existing shed, and we've had some spare fence panels, and we just strapped those to the sides and done it up. The shed needs a good old sort out, and we'll be remaking that over. And over here we have our missile launch tubes, where we've just got some old guttering and put those in just for holding our canes and everything else. And then we have our little buckets and stuff down there for our nettle and our comfrey liquid feed. You'll see from the trees over the back there, there's still quite a lot, looking around the plot, still quite a lot of leaves on trees. And it's only this week, when we've been having the cold weather, that they've started to really brown off. So we shall see how the next week sorts itself out and how cold the weather gets. Cheers. So that's where we are at the beginning of December. Just going to spend a bit of time doing a little bit of harvesting and some of the salads and a little bit of weeding. I think over the last month I've been so busy doing the shed, getting the fruit case sorted, tidying up and sorting out in the polytunnel. I think this is the first cuppa and sit down and relax I've had at the plot for a month and a half, and it's been nice today to actually just come down and just potter around, look at the little jobs that need to be done, rather than it being like all just our hard work and digging and everything else. So looking forward to going into the winter well prepared, and so that when come spring, all we need to do is actually do some sowing and planting rather than doing any of the actual structural work. So join me again soon. Cheers. Some more various fungi that are living in and around the plot. Another one there. Another huge collection of fungus coming off of the bark chippings. Just spotted that there's like tiny little ladybird still in here. Well, you can stay and eat as much as you want, and all the pests and everything else.